All opinions are those of the participants making them and are not an endorsement of any position, program, religion, or political affiliation. DFG's Corner is for information, observations, and entertainment. I ask that you like, share, comment, and subscribe.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to DFG's Corner Emporium. I am your host, DFG, Dr. Feelgood, the man with the golden voice, the lady's choice, and of course, smooth as a Rolls Royce. Now, I'm coming to you live from the 571, which is the DC area, where I'm having fun and I'm getting things done. Also tonight, my co-hosts that are with me, my sister from the same Mr. and Mrs., my favorite girl, Chocolate Pearl, holla at your boy.
Hey, this is Chocolate Pearl calling you from Dubai. I am happy to see a lot of my family members on here, and I hope you enjoy the show because we got a big topic going on. This is something that we really need to discuss.
Okay. All righty.
And welcome on, everybody.
And next, my other co-host, my other sister from the same Mr. and Mrs., the lady that's sweet as Snapple, her name is Apple. Come on, Apple, holla at your boy.
Good evening, everyone. We're going to have a great show tonight, as we always do, and I want to welcome everybody. And I'm calling from the big NYC, the Big Apple.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So tonight's going to be a kind of a controversial subject, but it's not a bad subject. I got a text from a good friend of mine who said, well, why don't, we're talking about how prices are going up and prices are getting around. So we thought today would be a good day to try to talk about the difference in food prices in Black neighborhoods and in non-Black neighborhoods, mainly white neighborhoods.
Of course.
So what I'm gonna do is the first video you're gonna see is talking about what is a food desert, because that's basically what we're talking about. Give me a second. And here we go.
I got scurvy because I live in a food desert. There are a lot of food deserts in America.
Hi, I'm Isaiah. I'm an environmental communicator, and I want to talk about the term food desert and food apartheid, and you should watch that video. Food justice activist and author Karen Washington first coined the term food apartheid to describe the root causes around our food system that is based on race, class, and geography, and that the ways in which communities of color and those in poverty in areas in urban or rural areas is deeply by design versus then a natural accident. As someone who also lived in a food desert but in an urban area, my access to get produce or food had a higher chance than rural communities or areas that are more limited to having accesses to churches or food banks that would give food. Now, not all of the food that we were given was nutritious. A lot of the food when I was a kid going to these food banks and churches were typically heavily meat, dairy, expired food. And some of it, the produce was very minimal. And I started to question this idea of like food aid in the US government is not designed to alleviate food hunger. It's meant to continue having this vicious cycle of people being able to rely on this system, but not so much build self-sufficiency in their own communities to build food sovereignty. So I'll reference Los Angeles as the city where I grew up in. It has nearly 1 million plus residents.
I'm gonna stop this right here. Understanding what a food desert is, and one of the things that they talk about in a lot of studies is the scarcity of getting fresh food in places of lower socioeconomic, especially in urban areas. If you go, I'm near Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. has 8 wards or 8 neighborhoods. 7th and 8th ward are about 90% Black. Wards 1 and 2 are about 70% white. There are exactly 3 grocery stores to cover 2 wards in Ward 7 and 8. There are 21 in the northwest of DC in Ward 1 alone. So you have access to food, but you won't be able to get, you won't be able to get to it because um sometimes you got to travel. If you don't have a car, you can only what you carry. If the bus don't go there, you got to walk. In New York, we had shopping carts, and we would take the shopping cart up there, and we were we would go up there. That was just how it was. We didn't have a cart at the time. So, but the thing is that there are a lot of issues with how things are priced. First, people, a lot of dollar stores. I don't know how it is in Arizona, but on the East Coast, Dollar Tree and the dollar stores are the main staples for people to get food. And although it's cheap, you're basically eating cardboard. It's not very nutritious, and it helps exacerbate the problems in our community because our community as a whole, we're the most overweight and obese by population, by percentage. 75% of Black people, 80% women, 70% men, are classified as overweight in accordance with CDC standards for overweight. 45% of those people are obese. Clinical definition, BMI over 30. Why do you think that is? One reason is they're not getting the meal that has nutritional value. It fills you up, but it doesn't do anything for you. So your body tries to break down the chemicals, and it produces more what's a hormone called cortisol. What cortisol does, it's a stress indicator. It helps you store fat because our biological clocks work like that. When it gets colder, we put on more fat. When it's warmer, we have less fat. Well, cortisol triggers your body to be in a different state, and that's why a lot of us have a lot of what's called visceral fat or white fat around our guts. Continuing with that, the food is cheap. It causes diabetes, high blood pressure, of course, overweight and obesity. And what are the main killers in our type of neighborhoods? Can anybody tell me one thing that besides
pork, sugar?
Yes.
So
Frying foods,
yes,
frying foods. They won't eat nothing unless it's fried. They don't like to bake or broil. So that's a problem.
And
Yeah.
the thing is though, is that it depends what you fry it in. You can fry somewhat healthy, but and our parents use lard. Our parents use lard. Our parents use all that good stuff. But the thing was they had 50 years ago. I could actually say that. Wow. 40, 50 years ago, the food basically was fresher. It didn't have all those preservatives or anything like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you fried it, but it was relatively healthy. Today, they got you basically the canola oil. What is that? What's the difference between that and motor oil? You got the genetically modified foods that seem to find their ways now, and that's why our children's going to puberty early because they don't get enough nutrition, and yeah, that's all of that. I'm gonna bring up another video before we go on,
More than that.
and this one talks about how things are and how there's more fast food restaurants in poorer neighborhoods than there are supermarkets.
What is a food desert? To put it simply, it's a place where people have limited to no access to nutritious food. And this is an issue that wide swaths of the United States struggles with. In food deserts, fast food is often much more affordable and easy to reach than grocery stores are. What this means is people who can't afford to get proper nutrition often end up punished for it with brutal health effects, with the result being that chronic illnesses in these affected areas are significantly higher than areas outside. Certain parts of the US, like the south side of Chicago or the southern side of Los Angeles, particularly struggle with this. They have acute levels of grocery store inaccessibility. And to top it all off, grocery stores intentionally avoid putting their locations in impoverished communities. Their chief concern is, of course, safety of their employees and of their merchandise. So it really creates a perfect storm where everybody loses. And the nature of the US's car-dependent infrastructure means that density is very low in many cities.
That's the end. That's the end of that one. I guess he didn't pay his quarter to finish the other for another 3 minutes.
Isn't that why they created bodegas?
Yes, yes and no. It fit a need, but even when they get, most food delivery systems have a hub and spoke. They start out at a big warehouse, then they put it in the trucks and they go to smaller places. It costs less for them to make fewer deliveries. So if you're in a bodega, for example, if anybody doesn't know what a bodega is a corner store. Every town has one. It's just a local corner store, mainly found in the Northeast. Back to the story. You have just lost my thought. The bodega gets about 6 or 7 cans of peas. It's cheaper for them to take 300 cans of peas as opposed to 7. So they pass that cost on to the bodega owner, who takes that and moves it and pass it on to the customers. The customers can't start to not afford food. So what do? Because you still got to eat. If you can't buy it, the 5-finger discount, you will try it. And so what that does is that chases other people out of the neighborhood. And they say, well, it's high crime. We're not going to bring a store there. And then this is how you get to those deserts. Where's DJ Dabs? You out here?
Yes, he is.
Here's the question. What examples have you seen that, when you went to a difference between in a black neighborhood or a white neighborhood?
So I'm a friend with one of the state representatives down here. She had posted, and so I went and checked this out, but she had posted that she had seen the difference in some of the products. She had went to the same store, checked the products of certain items, and went to the white neighborhood and checked the same items, and it was $200 difference. She said some of the products were up to $5 difference in price. I thought that was pretty huge.
Yes.
Just think about it. She's a state representative. So she's really, and she lives on the north side. The north side of Jacksonville is considered the bad side, or the more urban side.
One of y'all got to cut your mic off.
Can you put you on mute? I'm sorry. Huh? Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks for watching. This is the man with the golden voice, the lady's choice, and of course, smooth as a Rolls Royce, saying, never make love by the garden gate. Though love is blind, the neighbors ain't.